Hello, and thank you for joining. My name is Jason Eder, and I'm the Director of Business Development at Profound Cloud. Today's session is covering why a business would consider upgrading to Google Apps for Work Unlimited. I'd also like to make you aware this session is being recorded, and if interested, I'd be happy to share it with you to distribute to your team following today's session. In order to fully appreciate the differences between Google's offerings and consider upgrading to Google Apps for Work Unlimited, I wanted to give a brief overview and history of the App Suite. It's important to understand how much is in Google Apps. Also, let's clear up any confusion surrounding the names relating to Google's products and the versions available. Most familiar is Google Apps. At the start, Google offered a free edition of Google Apps. This was more commonly known as the Standard Edition. It has a reduced set of business features such as sites and groups, and then upgraded in 2012 of December. They stopped offering the free edition and removed it from customers altogether. If you still have the free edition, you can continue using it for free, but be cautious as it no longer is offered to new users. So after eliminating the Standard Edition, Google was focusing primarily on its core offering, Google Apps for Business. And this includes Gmail, Calendar, Contacts, Chat, Groups, Sites, Video, and Google Docs. Special editions also emerged in this transition, such as Google Apps for Education, Google Apps for Nonprofits, and Google Apps for Government. Education nonprofits are both free, which is extremely generous and has been widely embraced. For example, 66 of the top 100 schools, according to U.S. News and World Report, are using Google Apps for Education. So when you're hiring or looking to expand, that's a statistic that could deeply impact the decision to go all in with Google or not. Today it's actually much simpler than the different models I was just showing you. We have Google Apps for Work, which was formerly known as Google Apps for Business, Google Apps for Work Unlimited, and then bundled together is Google Apps for Education, Nonprofits, and Government. Apart from the name difference, read Google Apps for Business versus Google Apps for Work, the pricing and overall offering remained intact for several years. What changed, however, was it got better. Actually, it enhanced dramatically. As a refresh, Google's core offerings was Gmail, Calendar, Docs, Sites, Groups, and Chat. In the past 3 years, Google introduced Google+, which serves as a visually appealing internal community tool to share ideas and collaborate on projects. Google Plus is also where Google introduced their video conferencing tool, Google Hangouts. Today, Hangouts has replaced Google Chat and has enabled seamless device-agnostic messaging and video conferencing from any browser and any device, even embedding a conference link into calendar events. Google released Vault, which initially enabled organization-wide administrative search and retention of mail data and on-the-record chats. We'll talk more about this later and how it actually works with Google Drive now, too. Speaking of which, Google Docs actually evolved into Google Drive, offering web-based storage and real-time editing as you create text files, spreadsheets, forms, presentations, and drawings. Google released add-ons recently, which allows third-party developers to design tools directly inside of Drive files. More recently, Google made a strategic investment in QuickOffice, and this is a tool that that not only allows you to use Drive to store any file type, but also Google is working towards being able to seamlessly view, edit, incredibly fast, and a whole list of the different file types without needing additional software. And mind you, all through the web. Again, today's offerings are Google Apps for Work, Google Apps for Work Unlimited, and Google Apps for Education, Nonprofits, and Government. 3 simple options that are far more than email, calendar, and contacts. far more than a storage solution. Each of these offerings have contributed to enabling over 190 million active users to collaborate, communicate, and access their pertinent information seamlessly on any device. Of the 190 million active users, there are over 5 million businesses who use Google Apps for Work. But what's on the other side of this coin? For those of you not considering Google Apps, or in particular using Google Apps but not utilizing Google Drive, what's the alternative? Well, Box and Dropbox are strong competition when looking specifically at Google Drive as an independent application suite. Both Box and Dropbox are very good at storing data. To gain support and an enterprise SLA, you're going to spend at least $10 to $15 per user per month. Further, there's a caveat though. Both of these applications are completely dependent on Microsoft or the editing software that you have on your device, such as your PC, laptop, or Mac. If you're looking to pay for Office and a storage solution, though, Dropbox for business and enterprise or Box should suffice, and they're very easy to use tools, so I want to be fair on that. However, whether you stick to Office or move away from Microsoft, Google presents a very compelling alternative. If your organization relies on Office, you can still go Google. Get off that Exchange server at least and reduce your IT overhead. If your organization is looking to move away from Microsoft, Google Apps is also a complete solution. For less than the starting price of Dropbox or Box's business solutions, you not only get Google Drive storage, but you also get to create and collaborate on text files, presentations, spreadsheets. Oh, and you get mail, calendar, distribution groups, roles-based permissions, sites, Google+, Google's video conferencing and messaging, along with a mobile device management solution and full admin console to manage your business. But let's keep talking competition. These icons should look fairly familiar to you. Why? Because file synchronization and sharing is quickly becoming a very popular product in demand. These are 4 icons that I'm most familiar with, but to be fair, here's the real landscape we're dealing with today. TechCrunch recently ran an article on a report held by 451 Research, which surveyed over 1,000 IT pros in October of this year, 2014. They asked which sync and share tools they use at their companies, and it was discovered that Dropbox actually was the enterprise leader by far, with more than 40% adoption. Next in line was OneDrive, then Google, and Box, and then the rest was around 10%. But here's where it gets interesting, or rather, from my perspective, a little troubling. Only 18% of the IT specialists claim that they are currently paying for an enterprise sync and share product. To me, that means, regardless of the solution utilized, enterprises are abandoning some of the best-known practices of ensuring corporate data is backed by an SLA and supported 24/7 by a team of professionals. Keeping synchronization in mind, I use this slide a lot. The reason being is it's true. For the first time in history, Comscore reports that mobile use, phone and tablets, are outpacing desktops. Mobile devices account for 55% of the internet usage in the United States in January. Apps made up 47% of intranet traffic, and 8% of traffic came from mobile browsers, according to the data from Comscore. PCs clocked in at 45%. So mobile is outpacing desktop. What does that say? Well, BYOD has become the new norm, which is why Forrester states that today 29% of the global workforce are anytime, anywhere information workers. Those who use 3 or more devices, work from multiple locations, and use many apps. This number has risen from 23% of the global workforce since 2011 and will continue to rise. They see 905 million tablets in use for work and home globally by 2017. People are accessing information from multiple devices with multiple platforms, and anytime, anywhere, any device accessibility is critical. This decision impacts everyone in your organization. Further, the consumers have defined the market. There are actively 500 to 600 million users sharing and syncing files daily. So let's embrace the web and enable your workforce. Look, today's technology leaders face an obvious tension between their staff's desire for freedom and their organization's demand and responsibility for control. Innovation on the one side, security and policy on the other. Once people see that better technology exists, well, they're going to go for it. They want it. And this isn't because they're malicious or evil. It's because they don't want to threaten their employer. They just want to get their work done and do it better, do it faster, just like this image right here. And so they email data to their personal Gmail or Hotmail, Yahoo, whatever personal account they might have for mail, just to finish up projects over the weekend or even on vacation. To work from home and meet their deadlines, they're putting vital information on even USB sticks still, which is more than half of us admit to losing. Sure, they're cheap, but who's finding that data and what are they admitting to losing? So there's another way. Just look at the presentation I'm giving right now. It's not stored on my laptop, it's stored in the cloud. I did it online with my team just while I was on the train. I was on my iPhone editing it, and my colleagues were in the office editing on their PC or Mac. I could view it and review it on my iPad too, seamlessly. The entire time, I never once had to click save or save it to the device. I didn't need to. Google does it automatically for me, and I had the freedom that I want combined with the control that my organization demands. So, for starters, we've talked at length about the strengths of why web, why cloud, and why Google. Let's assume that you want to utilize Google at some capacity. So let's talk more about what Google Apps for Work Unlimited is, and then address some considerations before deciding on which offering makes the most sense for your team. With Google Apps for Work Unlimited, there are no limits to slow you down. Don't let your infrastructure slow you down. Unleash unlimited storage, which means no more managing quotas, ever. Drive supports multi-terabyte files and is available in over 70 languages. Drive is built on Google's globally optimized data center network, so performance and availability are world-class while also being green. And they deliver a 99.98% availability with no planned downtime. That means no patches, no fixes, or interruption to your organization. In addition to being available, data also needs to be secure. Google's infrastructure has all the major security certifications, plus a team of over 400 security engineers working full-time to protect your systems and users. Google Apps Unlimited includes audit reports that let you track all user activities and security controls so you can customize apps for your organization's needs. Data in Drive is encrypted at rest and in transit, and mobile security is built right in. The Unlimited plan gives you company-wide file, mail, and on-the-record chat search. And over the course of the year, Google will be adding even more features for archiving and e-discovery. Google is constantly coming up with new ways to detect security threats, so you'll benefit from the innovations like suspicious login detection. Just last week, Google released the ability to monitor and manage all devices that have access a corporate account. Google Apps for Work Unlimited is easy to manage with a centralized admin panel and convenient management tools, such as account transfers, undeletion of pertinent files, simple pricing, and advanced reporting. Unlimited also unleashes APIs that all of the third-party application integrators are heavily investing development work into, so that your enterprise and Google Apps Unlimited solution is customized to fit your needs. Further, it integrates with your existing authentication systems, such as LDAP, Active Directory, and SSO. And with apps reporting features, it's easily to visualize usage and sharing trends. So here's the nutshell version of what we discussed so far. Google Apps for Work, $5 per user per month. Google Apps Unlimited, $10 per user per month, with the added incentive of advanced admin controls and APIs, audit and reporting for Drive and sharing, Google Vault for Gmail, Drive, and chats, a full archive of all emails sent by your organization to fulfill your retention needs and policies, and of course, unlimited storage. Now, let's take everything that was previously discussed and consider how some of these features may impact your decision when deciding whether or not to upgrade to Google Apps for Work Unlimited. Let's get to this right away. Are you an organization that heavily depends on storage? Do you need or want to have all of your corporate images, videos, training sessions, or raw photo files accessible? With Unlimited, you'll never have to worry about quotas or capacity again. No more resource calculations, out-of-space warnings, or scrambling to add and manage additional servers. You can store as much data as you need, period. Now, this is a much bigger topic that I see getting overlooked at times when people are considering this upgrade. As your organization is embracing the cloud, it's easy to assume that additional reporting, auditing, and APIs seem irrelevant at first glance. Your CFO might see this as a nice-to-have rather than a must. That is, until your CISO wants to see when a specific user specific user activity regarding when a certain file was created or accessed, or even an IP address from where the user performed the activity. The APIs of Google Apps for Work Unlimited gives you access to retrieve Google Drive events by user, retrieve events by domain, retrieve Drive events by name, export all of the results. Further, if your business depends on third-party applications such as CloudLock, FlashPanel, and Backupify, these guys are taking full advantage of the Drive and Audit reporting APIs. And they're putting a whole lot of work into making sure that these ISVs are spending a lot of time developing to deliver you a better, faster, smoother experience. Now, Vault. This is a tool that many organizations at first glance find unnecessary, with the exception of enterprises who have previously invested in eDiscovery or have corporate policies already in place. This could be a difficult decision for your C-level leadership, especially if cost comes into play. But consider the following. Large businesses may spend tens of millions of dollars on eDiscovery each year. If you are suddenly facing a litigation or have in the past, you may want Vault to help migrate or mitigate risks associated with litigation, investigation, and compliance by enabling policies for archiving, retaining, and expunging Gmail and on-the-record chat content. You also may want to enable organizations to search for, identify, and export Gmail, on-the-record chats, and Google Drive content. With Vault, you can be prepared to assess a legal matter or compliance issue in a timely, cost-effective way with minimal disruption to your business. Okay? Now, let's talk about org-level permissions. Admin functionality is critical to control how your teams and departments access and manage data. We talked about this before. The demand of the hundreds of millions that are accessing and sharing information on personal accounts, give them Google Apps for Work Unlimited and give them the control that you need in order for them to have the freedom to use these applications. Encryption at rest and in transit is part of it. They give you third-party app whitelisting, built-in mobile security, suspicious login detection. This is all important, but it's not a functionality that is typically universal. With Google Apps Unlimited, your admins can be more specific with policies for users and limit who can do what, such as download or use Google Drive for a Mac or PC to sync Drive files with their computer. You see that, you hear that, and you might not be really sure why. Well, it's very possible that due to some of your policies, security reasonings, you don't want people downloading files or storing or caching any type of data to personal devices. You can limit that by OrgUnit. Maybe you want to enable offline access to the Google Doc editors, but you only want certain people to be able to do that, certain departments. You can also open files and web apps installed from the Chrome Web Store, or use Google Docs add-ins built by other developers. Now, here's an elephant of a question. Does going Google mean that you want to remove Microsoft from the picture? As I discussed earlier, whether you stick to Office or move away from Microsoft, Google presents a very compelling alternative. If your organization relies on Office, you can still go Google. Let me read that again. If your organization relies on Office, you can still go Google. Maybe you want to decommission that Exchange server and reduce your IT overhead. If your organization is looking to move away from Microsoft, Google Apps is still a complete solution, offering all the tools and features I talked about before. Sundar Pichai, standing in front of these several logos, was an extremely powerful image from this year's Google I/O. is focused on delivering secure, cutting-edge technology that is cross-platform friendly is critical to this continuously growing market. I'm intrigued by Google's vision of embracing and integrating all technologies for cloud storage, creation, and collaboration. It is this vision that allows for organizations to ease into the clouds that work for them, which is likely more than one. So again, if the question is no more Microsoft or less Microsoft or a hybrid, Google for Work is a compelling solution. So what about that file server? So at Profound Cloud, we were faced with a conundrum. We have this incredible platform with Google Apps for Work Unlimited and some tried and true methodologies of file organization that we rely on. Google Drive was trying to tell us to do something different than we were before. So our challenge was to come up with a list of best practices to marry the more traditional IT concepts with Google Drive and really make it more feasible to adopt Google Drive across the organization and eliminate the reliance of the file server infrastructure altogether. We've had great success within our own company and for many organizations we work with. We see so many businesses that start with Google and they're so excited about it, and it evolves quickly, and the organization adopts to mail, to calendar, to their contacts, and even Drive very quickly. But Drive becomes a nice add-on for a lot of organizations, and it confused us. We weren't sure why. And the reason being is, yes, just like I said in the previous slide, they might still rely on Microsoft Office, and that's okay. So as mentioned, what we're trying to do is figure out a way to create a world where you can utilize this tool that's already there, remove that file server from the picture, and deliver that accessibility that the cloud offers, all while still maintaining your current workflow. So we came up with this idea, one folder to rule them all. And what it means is, instead of having a bunch of shared folders that are scattered across an organization, which is what Google Drive naturally does. You open up Drive and you have your certain files and folders that you have, and you share it to different departments. It's wonderful. It gives you the seamless collaboration suite. It's excellent. But it's a little unmanaged and a little difficult to, especially when people leave or move around in the company. There needs to be a little bit more structure. So that's where we came up about this root folder idea. This is actually exactly what you would have on a traditional file server, so why not apply it to Google Drive? You likely have a particular hard drive currently that it has shared data on it. Let's call it the F drive or the G drive. Instead, your F drive that you have all your shares with you manage in one place, think about doing the same thing in Google Drive. So take a look at this. A root folder should be owned by a non-human admin account. This is going back to general IT best practices, but is something that gets overlooked when focusing on the newness or work involved when deploying apps across the domain. You want to separate the super user accounts from the day-to-day work. You also want to set up the root folder so that everyone in the org can view it. Remember though, under the umbrella of this root folder, a particular individual will only be able to view the folders they have access to. This is unlike a traditional Windows server, and we'll address that. We actually have a white paper that I'll share with you all after the fact, and also a video that really gets in depth about this whole idea. You want to set up the root folder so that only the owner or the non-human account can edit it too. And you want to set it up so that only that account can change permissions. This is how we predict the workflow of our plan. The two most pertinent aspects are the initial discovery discussions with department leaders, along with the customized training sessions and documentation to encourage and excite the staff. The only way, though, that this formula works is if you're completely invested in the work that it entails, and more so, invested in the idea of really utilizing Google Apps for Work Unlimited. That unlimited storage capacity makes that deprecation of your file server a lot more intriguing and possible. Plus, you're getting those audit reports and APIs that maybe you didn't already have available to you for your file server, or it just wasn't as sufficient as you were hoping. And it probably wasn't very manageable from a cloud-based perspective without having to RDP in and things of that nature. Ideally, you can get rid of all of that. So understand the value of performing a full audit in order to properly document this new architecture is critical. Most important, though, more so than the actual audit and work itself, is education. Educate the leadership and colleagues on the implications of making such a switch, and focus on the good, because with Google it always outweighs the bad. Advocate the importance. Look, you've made the investment already. Very likely, if you've gone Google to some extent, you've enabled your organization to fully utilize this unbelievable technology. So train them, train them, train them. Stop thinking that your organization already has a handle on using Google Drive. If you're going to, that's great if they do, right? But provide them with training that surrounds this customized philosophy and make them work even better within a platform that they're already familiar with. They need to see and adapt to this vision in order for it to be successful. And just as an added nugget here, the file structure we're talking about, going Google Apps for Work Unlimited, looking at Google Apps as a platform solution really unleashes the opportunity here for Chrome OS, whether you're using Chrome boxes, Chromebooks, etc. Or if you have an upgrade of hardware that's impending, I really strongly suggest you take a look at the Chrome devices. Because if you're using Google Drive as your file server, if you're using Gmail as your main client, if you're managing and accessing all of your admin functionality through the control panel that Google provides, a Chromebook is more than sufficient. And it's significantly less expensive and provides a very fast and fluid solution. Onboarding is extremely easy. Gone are the days of disk imaging in order to spin up a new device. We're talking a click, and it's manageable in the cloud because Google Apps for Work Unlimited provides you a mobile device management solution so you can see those devices in action too. So here it is. Google Apps for Work Unlimited unleashes the full potential of embracing a web environment, collaborating and creating from any device, organizing and sharing seamlessly. Retain and store everything, everything. And while meeting your security needs and policies, all of this comes into play very well. The vision is very simple, and I hope that this was helpful. And we'd love to work with you and talk a little bit further. This is the report I was just telling you about. I'll make sure to email everyone a copy that attended, so that if you want to see that more comprehensive information about the file server mentality in Google Drive, I can send it over to you as well. I really thank you for your time today. Recording of this will go out to everyone, or access to the recording, so you can click on the link and see it there. I hope to put this on YouTube as well so you can easily and seamlessly share it through your teams. And I'll likely keep a copy of it on Google Drive as well. So I thank everybody for their time today and hope that this helped you and educated you in understanding why you should upgrade to Google Apps for Work Unlimited. Thank you very much and have a great day.